Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It has been a fair while now, which I will explain in a second, but basically, here we are today with another HSR tier list, and this time, not doing the most powerful DPS or the most powerful supports. Instead, it's going to be the most fun DPS to play, in my opinion. Now, everyone here will be considered at E0 S0, because this is supposed to be most fun for F2Ps, and also all the characters I own are E0 S0, so I'm going to judge them that way. Now, as you guys can tell, I am still sick. In fact, I've only gotten worse since the last upload. So either my voice will be messed up or there's a lot of coughing. I've already had to cut some out, actually a fair bit already, but I want to power through just because I do not want to slack off. And hopefully I'll be better in time for the next one. And also, I don't have my PC on me. This is all on my laptop, so yeah, that's another thing which sucks right now, which is why I'm not doing anything gameplay related. So instead, we're doing a most fun DPS video, which is what I actually got recommended because I've sometimes talked about my favorite DPS in the game, which does kind of spawn the question, who are my most fun? So I decided I might as well rank everyone here. Now, when it comes to first of all, what we're going to do, I'm going to rank all the ones I own first, and then later on, we will go more into the characters I don't have and where I think I would place them, but I do own most of these characters, so I am fairly confident in most of my placings, or at least my thoughts on them. But that being said, let's just hop right into it. Okay, now I have rearranged things a bit so that we do have all of the DPS we own going up first. But starting off, we have Ching, one of our standard banner characters, and you know, his animations are cool. But because that's about it, I think what I might have to do is to add a row below and just call this Ching, and there we go. And unfortunately, as cool as King was in the 2.5 story, apologies, that's gonna keep happening. I'm gonna cut most of them out, but like I said, animations are cool, but other than that, he's just not viable. If there's one 5-star who isn't viable, it's him, so yeah. Next up, however, we do have Himiko, and just how she is very well designed. She also has some, first of all, very nice animations. Second of all, some very, very satisfying gameplay. I mean, when you break 3 enemies, you just see her follow-up attack go off and deal massive damage in pure fiction. It's just so satisfying. Chain that with her to Himiko, or say Jade Himiko, or even, you know, just whatever character can break weaknesses. Gallagher or Linkshaw Himiko as well. You can pair her in Super Break as well. So, you know what? I think I'm going to give Himiko a B tier for that. You know, she's not like among the top characters, but damn is she up there. Now, I do want to consider the fact that she is mostly in pure fiction other than her Super Break playstyle, although admittedly, I do think her follow-up version is more fun, although I am still going to put her in the B tier. Next up, though, Clara. Okay, where do I want to put Clara? I don't really use her much, although I am very aware of her gameplay. I used her a bit early game, though, we'll say that. And, you know what? I think I'm also going to give Clara a B. Counter-attacks are just really fun. I mean, enemy hits you and you hit them back even harder. How is that not hard? Also, excuse me for any hard cuts. That is literally just me cutting out the coughs. But yeah, like I said, counterattacks, very fun, especially with some of the enemy designs where they just go either, like if you have a group of them like the choir, where they just go frequently because 3 of them have like fairly high speeds, and there's, like I said, there's 3 of them. Or if it's an enemy like Hule, which obviously there's only 1 of, but he has like 259 speed, something like that, something absolutely insane. So yeah, Clara is pretty damn cool. And also, I mean, it's Svarog shooting the lasers, so yeah, it's cool. I like Clara. Also, you know, these 2 are just pretty viable units. They're not like top meta characters, but they are pretty damn viable. But then again, this isn't a meta tier list. Just, this is a fun tier list. You can heal the enemies and still go up in the higher tiers. So yeah, like I said, not a meta tier list, just a fun tier list, and these 2 are pretty fun. Now, Zila. Okay, this is interesting, because obviously, like I said, this is not a meta tier list. If a character has a fun mechanic, then they will get a higher placement. Now, Zila's problem is she is the one character where her requirement relies on you having a good build so that you can kill the enemy and then proc Resurgence. And early on in the game, that was very easy and Zilla was very fun to play, get 4 turns in a row. But nowadays, E0, S0, you know, don't have her Lycon, no Eidolons, maybe not all of her best teammates, or maybe you have just not gotten lucky with her relics. I mean, I don't know how many people still farm quantum relics. I know I haven't for a very long time. So, yeah, that being said, I think I'm probably going to put Zilla in the C tier, just because she can still be very fun sometimes. I had a pure fiction run with her not too long ago. So, yeah, Zilla definitely can still be fun. The problem is, like I said, her mechanic relies on her being able to one-shot, which, considering that the new endgame modes have recently had a kind of spike in difficulty and HP pools, then I don't really think she's going to keep up with that all too well. So, yeah, unless she gets like a mega buff, then I think Zilla is probably a C tier character because, like I said, you have to kill to proc her fun mechanic, and without that, it's not very fun. But she definitely does have potential, and she was very fun early game. But moving on, Jinglu. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Lightning Lord is very cool and pretty damn fun in the beginning, but you know what? I think we have seen a lot of our general memes. You know, I mean, first of all, I'm just gonna say, Jinglu mains, please don't hate me. I love this man. I mean, you know what? He kept getting buffs. Maybe he'll get another buff in the future. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But in the current state of the game right now, I want to put Jinglu in a D tier. Like I said, he can easily go up. But right now, first of all, whenever you play him, you're literally just building up stacks for your Lightning Lord, which will be fine. But I mean, first of all, Lightning Lord does very good single target damage, but considering it bounces across all types of enemies, then, you know, for example, in Pure Fiction, it's still going to be good, but, you know, it still could feel like you could do slightly more damage. You know, you prefer just use like an Jenty, a Jade, a Herta, a Himiko in Pure Fiction, even Acron plus Jiacho, honestly. So, you know, there aren't many reasons why you want to use him. And even though Lightning Lord is cool, it's not the most satisfying all the time. And also, let's not forget, if Jinglu gets CC'd, then guess who also gets CC'd? Yup, that is right, Lightning Lord. So, yeah, let's just say he definitely has improvements which could be made. But like I said, if we ever get a unit which increases the speed of summons, then Jinglu will probably instantly go like up to here maybe. If they're a great buff and it makes his gameplay more fun, maybe even here. But for the time being, I'd say he could be here. But right now, current game state, version 2.6, Jinglu is here. I hope this ages poorly. But next up, I mean, first of all, take a look at the channel icon or some of the content. You can call me biased if you want, but there is a reason why I am biased. Blade is going up in the S tier, even though he doesn't do the most damage. I mean, first of all, he can work any game mode. Pure Fiction, you compare him with Herta or Himiko. In, for example, Apocalyptic Shadow, Super Break teams are very good there. And Blade Super Break, I actually do really enjoy, especially if the enemy is, let's say, Wind Imaginary weak, for example Kafka, then I do find Blade to be very fun in there. And you can also cook with his teams a fair bit. You know, the Super Break teams aren't the same, some of them will have mods, some of them won't. You can also use her in some double carry teams with Blade if you want. So yeah, quite a fair bit of team diversity. You know, you can go 2 AV units with Blade on HP boots, or you could go Rame plus Bronya, or like Sparkle plus Robin, whatever you want. He just has quite a few good team options. Now the truth is, that's because he doesn't have a best in slot teammate made for him. But you know what, like I said, he's still fun. And I mean, his basic attack, follow-up attack, ult, combining all of them, him healing himself, consuming his own HP, going from no HP to full HP, it's just so satisfying, man. I love watching Blade do all this stuff. Also, if you're playing Bronya, you know, Blade attacks, follow-up attacks, then you Bronya skill, and then he basics again, and then you can ult. It's just, it's so fun. I don't care how much damage it does. I don't care if people says he's fallen off. Just that gameplay loop and the fact that it's guaranteed, it just makes me feel like I'm doing damage even if I'm not. And it's just, like I said, it's just so fun and satisfying, which is why Blade to me has always been the S tier and always will be. For the longest time, I thought he was the funnest character in the game, and spoiler alert, I think now I'd probably put him second, because there's definitely one unit which is overtaking him for me. And although I'm still a Blade main at heart, we'll get onto that later. But moving on, we have Jinglu. Now then, this is an interesting one. Back in the day when we didn't have very many powerful DPSs, well, we had powerful DPSs, but with their limits, I would have probably called Jinglu I want to say maybe an A tier unit back in the day. But nowadays, I think I would settle for a beta unit. I mean, her enhanced state and her ultimate, the massive crate boost, stuff like that, is pretty damn cool. Again, the animation's cool. I do find it slightly annoying how, for example, if an enemy's debuffed state lasts but your buff state just ends, that can be a bit annoying. Although, gameplay with, again, similar to Blade, double AV or maybe just hypercarry teams like... same as Blade, to be honest. Ron May, Bronya teams are my personal favorite. But like I said, you could just go double action advanced units. I don't think she's the funnest unit in the game right now, but she's still a pretty decent character. I mean, when she works, she's definitely fun. But sometimes if you're just short of energy, or just buff state doesn't last, then she can be a bit annoying sometimes. And then her gameplay is also skill plus ult, whereas Blades is much more enhanced basic, talent, ultimate, which is why I put Blade far higher. But Jinglu is still very fun, very cool, with a lot of potential, so I would still put her in the B tier. And I am just realizing now that the order is slightly messed up, but anyway, we do have Dill, and when Dill released, he was right up there with Blade for me. I loved running these two. I even ran them in the same team for a while. Early days Star L teams were a bit crazy. I think it's after we hit... I don't even know when proper team building came around, because we also had some knowledge of team building, but I think proper team building didn't come until 1.6, when we had follow-up become a sort of team archetype, and then also Ron May as a universal buffer. But after that, I think Dill just kind of started falling down, and honestly, for me, he's a C tier unit right now. Now, I might be a bit biased because I don't have a sparkle, so I do sometimes have to think a lot when I want to use Dill. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I prefer Jinglu to Dill. I just feel like he's fallen off a bit, unfortunately. He doesn't have a cool resurgence mechanic like Zila. Although, he does have mechanics like, his special stacks instead of skill points, stuff like that, some self-buffs, stuff like that. So, Dill is still very much a cool character. He does have some of the nicest animations in the game, but I almost feel like people always put Dill and Jinglu in the same tier, but honestly, I would like to separate them. So I probably would put Jinglu slightly above Dill. So that's what I'm gonna reflect here. And now then, next up, we were just talking about him not too long ago, Ratio, who I'm actually going to put in the A tier, because, I mean, his follow-up attacks are just very fun, because, I mean, he's, first of all, his skill, cool, whatever, but then he throws chalk at someone with his talent, and then on his ultimate, he literally does the L, and then he drops the pillar on people. So, those animations are very fun, but then, obviously, also when he ults and then teammates just do follow-up attacks, and then he follows it up as well. It's just really satisfying. Now, obviously, the team is even more fun if you have like his premium team, or also a team I really like is gonna be Robin plus Avenging, but then plus Mose if you don't have Topaz. So I actually really think that's a fun team. Now, I don't have a good Mose myself, so although I say it's cool, I have never had the chance to use it. But you know what? It would be something I would love to try. But yeah, Ratio teams, just thanks to how follow-up works as well as his ultimate, it's just really fun seeing follow-up attacks stack on top of each other. And then of course he's just a very decent unit, so yeah, I definitely put Aventine up in the A tier. Wait, Aventine? Ratio. My bad. Yeah, whoopsies. Yeah, Ratio is in the A tier. Now, next up, we have Acron, and I will say Acron for the longest time for me was in the S tier. And when it comes to Acron as a unit, I still think she's an S tier unit. But when it comes to how fun she is, honestly, I think right now I'd put her in the A tier. I mean, I will say my S tier is a top 3, and Acron would probably be ranked 4th. Now, one thing I do want to say is, first of all, when Acron came out, I absolutely loved her. I mean, first of all, she had such a unique ultimate. It was so cool. Her technique as well, very useful. But I mean, the main thing was literally just that massive nuke damage, which was unlike anything we've seen before. Which is why, I mean, I feel like it was just so incredibly... I mean, it was just so incredible at the time. But honestly, I feel like the novelty has slightly worn off, just considering how many powerful teams we've gotten. I think Firefly, Super Break, or Fischl teams. So now that there's more teams which can do that kind of damage, I feel like the novelty has kind of worn off. And when it comes to Acron, you're basically waiting on your teammates until you can get your ultimate up, and then you do your ultimate damage, and then it's just rinse and repeat. Which to be fair, I still think it's fun thinking, you know, timing your debuffs, who you're gonna implant some of the debuffs on. I still think it's cool. Or for example, what would be the most efficient use of skill points, or whether you should basic or skill, get more energy. Should I try build my ult up quicker so I can apply another debuff quicker, stuff like that. It is still quite fun to think about when playing Acron, but in the end, I would still say she doesn't quite make the S tier nowadays. Next up, we have Bole, and Bole, to me, is the funnest character in the entire game. I mean, some of his break damage is absolutely insane. His ultimate animations, and I mean his skill animations as well, are incredible. Every single boss ever in existence basically has to be scared of this man, because he is an absolute boss destroyer. And man, when I say not only are his numbers satisfying as well, I think Bole, people often say that Bole is the hardest character to play, or at least one of them, and I see where they're coming from, because Bole actually does require a lot of thinking, but that to me is my favorite. For example, in the most recent Choir run, where much of the first wave doesn't have physical weakness, you know, I had to think on how I would max out my stacks before the second wave, and honestly, I just feel like that kind of planning is what makes Bole so fun. If you want to see my Bole run, you can go check that out in the last MOC. But yeah, this man is just so fun to play, in my opinion. I mean, just thinking who you're going to weakness break, generating your stacks as quick as you can, and then being rewarded by doing some absolutely bonkers damage, on top of seeing all these cool guns, and just Bole being Bole, he is still S tier for me, and in my opinion, the funnest and most satisfying character to play. Now, next up, I actually have skipped quite a few DPS characters after Bole, which is actually going to bring us onto Fischl, who is one of our most recent DPSs up until Rapper's release. And we have back-to-back S tier characters right here, and two of them are actually Wind, which is a bit funny, but yeah, first of all, Fischl, kind of like Acron, insane ult damage, incredible animations. Just the thing is, I find Fischl to be slightly more engaging than Acron, because, I mean, first of all, just seeing all the follow-up attacks. Now, I personally play a team of Robin, March, Aventurine, and I mean, just seeing Fischl go, then March, then Fischl, then March, and then maybe March gets her enhanced basic, and then maybe I can pop an Acron, a Fischl ultimate, and then I get to go again thanks to Robin. I know I'm only basing this on Fischl herself, but like I said, the ult, skill, into talent, it's just so satisfying, so clean. Stack generation feels great, which is why, in my opinion, she is still an S tier feeling character, on top of just how strong she is. She's kind of like the new Acron to me, and although I would put them both in the same tier when it comes to them being characters, when it comes to fun, I would put Fischl on top of Acron nowadays, now that Acron's novelty has worn off a bit, but maybe that will happen to Fischl one day, depends, but for the time being, right now, current state of the game, S tier unit when it comes to fun. Now then, moving on to the characters that I have skipped / do not own. Now, first up, we do have our Jenty, and I'm honestly going to put our Jenty in the C tier. I mean, there's a reason why I skipped him. It's basically just skill and ult damage in AoE, which, you know, it's cool, his animations are nice, But honestly, outside of Pure Fiction, he's not that great. Even in Pure Fiction, I rather use Hata because, so, I never really got the chance to use him, and even then, once they deal like cool follow-up attacks and stuff. Although he has a kind of unique ult, it's just, there's so many ults in the game. I mean, even Acrons, I would prefer to use Acron than Jenty in Pure Fiction, so, yeah, Jenty's going in the C tier for me. Now, next up, Firefly. I am scared here. I hope this doesn't upset any Firefly fans, but honestly, if I'm thinking about the Super Break characters, she's probably on the less fun side of the Super Break characters for me. I'm still gonna put her in the B tier just because, I mean, she can be a very satisfying nuke, and obviously the Firefly, the Sam transition's pretty cool. But honestly, just the feeling of doing absolutely nothing when enemies are weakness broken. And although you can say the same about Bootle, I feel like Bootle has a lot more planning and strategy when it comes to him. Firefly is kind of just, do as much as I can in my ult. It's just, oh, I'm in my ult, skill, 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 skill. I'm no longer in my ult, skill, skill, back in my ult, skill, 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 big damage, cool, fight's over, done. It's just, I don't think Firefly's gameplay is too engaging. Although it is cool, like I said, I don't think it's my favorite. I think there's other gameplays I prefer. I much prefer some of the follow-up attackers. Some people are going to find it crazy that I put Blade in S tier and then Firefly in B tier, but honestly, like I said, although she's a great DPS, I feel like she's one of the best DPSs to pull if you're free to play. But when it comes to the most fun units, for me, unless your definition of fun is destroying everything quickly, which I get, that is very fun, which is why I did put Firefly in the B tier. I mean, if she was bad, she'd be like down here-ish. But just considering for how strong she is, that alone can make her a B tier. But like I said, the gameplay loop I don't find to be the most engaging, which is why I personally put her in the B tier. No offense, Firefly mains, please don't come after me. But yeah, swiftly moving on until I get cancelled, we have Jade. Now, if you know anything about me, I don't really rate Jade too highly as a character. But you know what? I have to admit, her animations are cool. Her follow-up, basic. The fact that her basic is the only one in the entire game, which isn't just single target. And then her ultimate as well. I'm going to have to give Jade a B tier, if I'm being completely honest. Now, I know her main niche is in Pure Fiction. And similar to how Firefly destroys everything, she absolutely destroys Pure Fiction, which, adds to part of the enjoyment. But honestly, for me, it's the follow-up attacks. Because, I mean, her to J teams or her to Blade teams in Pure Fiction, because Blade also works in there, just seems quite damn fun to me. So, yeah, I think I would actually put Jade in the B tier. So, yeah, this is probably the first nice thing I'm saying about Jade main. So, this will hopefully be the first video where I don't upset them, because I think I have in every single other one. And then next up we have Yunli, who is basically just a giga buffed Clara with a massive sword, and honestly that's enough to put her in the A tier for me. Now I am kidding, her skill works slightly differently as well as her ultimate, which is why I do put her above Clara. But fundamentally the things I said about Clara can apply to Yunli, just she has some slightly more up-to-date and cooler mechanics, which is why I will put her in the A tier instead. But honestly, I just want to quickly finish this off by moving on to our newest DPS, Rapper. And honestly, I think Rapper's gameplay is incredibly cool. I mean, literally, her ultimate, the FPS mode, it's just, dude, it's so cool. I personally would put Rapper above Firefly. I know some people might say that's insane because some of the things you complained about Firefly can apply to Rapper. But I mean, honestly, it's just Rapper's animations being cool, which is making me go, like, damn. So, yeah, in AoE content, whether it's stuff like The Choir or Sunday in Epoch Shadow, or just Pure Fiction stages with Imaginary Weakness, she'll just shred all of it. And then, she can just ninja on them in style, which is why I put her in the A tier. I wish I could have got her, but unfortunately we lost that 50-50. So we will be going for Sunday instead. But yeah, this is my F2P fun tier list as someone who's been F2P since the game came out. Now, first of all, Now, I should mention, this should not affect your pulling opinions whatsoever. This is me just saying what characters I find the most fun. Feel free to leave your thoughts down below, although let's try to keep it civilized. And on that note, I am going to go, because I've been going for over 40 minutes, with half of it being coughing, which I am going to have to cut out. So I'm going to go do that, and after that, I'm going to go rest, because I am dying inside. So yeah, see ya.